Whilst working with Excel, there will be times when you need to edit the contents of a cell. So that's not just replace them, but just edit what's already in there. Now we have to be a little bit careful in Excel when we want to edit a cell, in that we don't replace the total contents. Let's take our sample cells with data as an example. On the forecast sheet, we have Bob, Rita and Sue. Now it may be that I wish to add in Bob's surname. So I could just click on the cell and type his surname, which is actually Haywood, and press return. And then what happens is Haywood drops into the cell, not Bob. Bob has actually gone. So if we go back, because we just clicked on the cell and started typing, as we mentioned before, when entering data, the data sits above the cell until you press enter or tab or click the little tick, and then that data drops in. So if you're editing the contents of a cell, you cannot just click on and start typing and then return, because that will replace the cell contents. If you want to add to the cell contents or augment the cell contents, then we need to actually get into the cell. So to get into the cell, we can either double click, and that will take us in. You can see the cursor is then in the cell, and I can add his surname. And then I press return. It then says Bob Hayward. So let's go back. There are a number of ways of getting into the cell. So you've seen double click works. We could select the cell and then go up to the formula bar at the top and click in to the formula bar. And then you can space and type his surname. Or we can again click on the cell, and then to get in, there is a keyboard shortcut of F2. And that drops you into the cell. So we're into Bob's cell. Let's add his surname. Return brings us down. Let's just widen that slightly. Then on the top of Rita's cell, and we want to edit her cell. Let's do the F2. Cursor drops in. Rita Brown. Return. Brings me down to Sue's cell. Let's add her surname up here. Sue Green. And again, I could press return, or I can click the little tick. And that's effectively the same as return, but I don't move down to the next cell below. I stay on that cell, but I've entered the contents. So that's editing cell contents. F2, double click, or up in the formula bar. If you happen to be on a numeric cell and you want to make a change, it's the same thing. Keyboard shortcut in this case, F2, drops me into the end, and I could move along to the beginning, delete the 6 and put a 7. And again, return. So it's just that little nuance you have to be careful of, actually getting into the cell to make the change rather than being on top, making the change, and then all that drops in is the new typing, not the existing typing as well.